Hey guys, it's been a little while since I got to sit down and address everybody. I know there's a lot of new faces out there. I'm Scott, and it's my pleasure to be able to sit down today and introduce the Apex 37. It's been a long time coming. First off, I'd really like to apologize to everyone who's been waiting on the Apex 37. It's been a really long year this year, and actually we've been working on it for a couple of years now. So for us, it's been a really long process, probably longer than it has been for you guys, but I promise it's worth the wait, and I sincerely apologize to anyone who's been waiting, because we're as excited as anybody, and it's finally here. When we first introduced the original Apex in 2007, longboarding was really almost entirely different from what it is today. There was always speedboarding going on, there was always carving going on, but there wasn't too much of a connection in between. And really, I think freeriding and freestyle freeride is really what the contribution of the last couple of years has been. Where once we were focused on kick flips, now we're focused on tray flips or 540 flips. Where once we were looking at early grabbing off of speed humps or speed bumps, now we're looking at Bish doing 360s off of kickers. Things have changed a lot and progressed really quickly. That's really the reason we spent so much time on the Apex 37. We wanted this board to not just carry the progressive riders of today, but be strong enough and be capable enough to carry the riders of tomorrow also. As different as the board looks, it's really not about the looks. It's about the construction. We're doing many different things in this board that have never been done before in longboarding, never been done before in snowboarding, never really been done outside of military application. The first one of those is the quad axial fiberglass that we're using. We're actually setting up the angles of this fiberglass and setting up the weave of the glass ourselves. So we're designing that, we're not just buying off the shelf material. That's a big change, no one else is doing that. The next, probably biggest thing that we're doing is we're then taking that custom layup and we're CNCing it. And what we do after we CNC it is drop in a custom carbon fiber bar. What that lets us do is keep the carbon off the nose and the tail, keep the carbon off the rails. You don't need it there. The carbon is there to keep this board stiff, but at the same time keep it light. All of those things are new and have never been done before, but we're also kind of doing some different stuff to try to keep this board strong. We're running 3 plies of maple, but we're not using any glue. We're actually using composite in between every layer of maple, and as opposed to glue. And what that means is that if you run this board into a curb, if you run it into a tree or a guardrail, you're not going to bust your glue, you're not going to break the glue bonds. If anything, you're just going to dent the wood. So you just grab a couple of clamps, maybe throw a little bit of wood glue in there and clamp it back down. It's going to be good as new, but because we're only using 3 ply as opposed to 7 or 9 or a huge thick bamboo core, because you're doing that, you're not going to lose any core material, so the board's just going to stay strong. And that's, again, something that hasn't been done before. As far as changes to the actual board, we added a little bit of camber, we added a little bit of concave, we are now adding a hard rail, a hard edge to our rails, but mainly your improvements are going to come from the fact that you're no longer going to lose any shape. So this deck is going to hold its shape probably for longer than you want to ride it. We've run this thing over with a truck, we've put it under thousands of pounds of weights for weeks on end. There's nothing we can do to actually get this board to lose its shape, no matter how many compressions we put it through. That's something that's pretty cool. But the other changes that we're actually making, get this guy right here. This board has original S8 trucks on it, but these mounting brackets here, you can see that there's some extra mounting brackets up here that aren't being used right now. We have this slid in to give you extra nose for freestyle. So you're looking at 0.7 inches long, or I should say longer, nose and a tail that's 0.7 inches longer than the previous Apex. That also puts your truck pattern a little bit closer to your stance. So a lot of times your feet are actually going to kind of be right about here, and that gives you a lot of torque for slides. It's going to let you do speed checks, bring it out and back in. It's going to let you do a lot of things, which actually brings me to another point that's pretty new on this board, and that's the grip tape. You can see that there's multiple pieces. That's because we were wearing through different parts of our grip tape at different times. This means that you can replace your nose or replace your centers depending on what you're looking at. You'll also notice that it runs all the way out to the edge. And when it gets there, it meets with a hard angle. So the top of the Apex 37 is now a hard rail as opposed to the rounded rail that used to be on the deck. And that's because we started doing a lot more free riding. Also because we started doing a lot more free riding, we are also carrying Randall trucks, Paris trucks, and Bear trucks. So for everyone who is looking for bushing trucks on an original deck, you're in luck. You got your wish. They're on the way. All in all, I think that the Apex 37, this new one that I'm holding right here and finally getting to talk about, is probably next to working with all the people that I love. This board is probably what I'm most proud of in the last 8 years. It's taken us a long time. It's been basically my baby for the last year and a half. And it's finally out here, and I hope that you guys are going to pick this up and see what it really is. It's a lot of heart. It's a lot of hours from a lot of very, very talented people, from riding to development to engineering to design. And I really am so proud of how it came together. So I hope you'll go out and at least check one out. Whether you're a supporter of original and have been for a while, whether you're new to longboarding, whether you hate original trucks more than life itself and are a huge fan of the bushings, wherever you're coming from, I really hope you'll take the time to come check this out, because I've spent a long time working on this board, and I am very, very happy to get it out there.
Cool, man. Wrap.
It's a wrap.